What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, aka B Jizzle. Before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. All of our YouTube videos. Hit that notification bell. Buy the subscribe button for all of our newcomers to get all our updated content when we drop a live or a new video, as well as go to our Cash App, $ BJ Matthews, or PayPal at Project Masters if you guys have anything that y'all want to send y'all love to for this great content at the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Let's get it popping. All right, man. So we are at the conclusion of the NBA season 2022-2023, and what a great season it was. Congratulations to the Denver Nuggets for closing the Miami Heat out last night in 5 games. They won 89-94. Definitely was a great game to the end. And I got to talk a little bit about something, man. I'm gonna do a live tonight about the Denver Nuggets and them. I'm gonna do a full live about them since they won. I could not do it last night, but I'm gonna be talking about what's with the Miami Heat, and I'm gonna do a couple videos actually today before I do the live. It's gonna be surrounded by the Heat and what I saw this series, to why they came up short. But I want to kind of go into something with Jimmy Butler, man, and how should we look at Jimmy Butler right now? How should we look at Jimmy Butler after the season he had, after the playoff run he had? How should we look at Jimmy Butler, as a player, his ranking, what he did, and all that, right? First of all, Jimmy Butler is one of my favorite players in the NBA. Why? Because he represents a demeanor of a no quit attitude. He's an underdog. If you follow his story, you can see just how great he is as far as a basketball player, right? And the obstacles he went through to get where he's at, man, it's definitely inspirational. So I definitely connect to that. And what he's accomplished, being able to be at this level, man, is definitely extraordinary. Now, people, I was, I gotta look at, the last thing I said about the Miami Heat, saying it was going to be far from over. It really I had to really stand on that. They lost in 5 games. When I look at the 5 games they lost in, games 4 last night and even game 1 were all winnable games. And they didn't get the job done. As the Miami Heat, they didn't get the job done. Now, I was making videos all throughout this series about, what was going on with, the Heat and what I feel like they need to do to win this series, right? And they did not come out on top the way that I envisioned them to come out. I felt like them going through the Eastern Conference as the 8th seed, beating the Milwaukee Bucks, in 5 games. And yes, Giannis played 2 of those last games, so I don't want to hear nothing about, Giannis didn't play. Giannis did play in games 4 and 5, and he partially played in game 1. And the only game Milwaukee won was when Giannis didn't play in game 2. So Miami Heat, they still beat the Bucks in 5, and then they go against the Knicks. They beat them in 6. They go in the conference finals. They have the Boston Celtics down 3-0, and they end up beating them in 7 games on their home court after giving up a 3-0 lead almost. I just felt like the Miami Heat had so much that they were, building off of, that there was no way they were going to get just put out the series, man. That's what I envisioned. Obviously they got gentlemen swept, so I got to hold that, right? But let me talk a little bit about Jimmy, man. Jimmy Butler, how we should look at him as a person who has accomplished so much in such a little time with a team that is not really a star-made team. Has mainly role players around, but just has a great organization, personality, demeanor, grit, Just the whole nine with the Miami Heat, man. You gotta remember they've won 3 championships before Jimmy Butler got there. So they're an organization that's world class, A plus, A class. Um, Eric Spoelstra proved he's in these last, I'm saying 10 years or whatever, that he's a great coach. But I'm gonna get on Eric Spoelstra because I feel like he is part of the reason why the Miami Heat lost this series as well. A big reason why. So I'm gonna get on him later. But about Jimmy, man, um, you got to be honest, bro. Um, Last night was the first game I've seen in the playoffs where I said the Miami Heat are actually carrying Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler's not coming along for the ride. Last night was the first game I could say that this entire playoffs. Even the games he played bad in, last night was the most glaring game I saw. And it wasn't just because of the numbers. It was because of the demeanor, the swagger, the you know what I'm saying, the competitive edge. I didn't see none of that with Jimmy Butler. Right? I didn't see any of that. And it was weird because, people asking me what happened with Jimmy Butler this series. You got people saying because of his ankle. You got people saying, what I'm saying, he's not that guy. He's not a top 5, top 10 player, whatever. You got even people saying about his, father, what I'm saying, being ill right now. I'm not going to use the injury excuse because he didn't use it last night. They asked him about that, at the post game press conference, and Jimmy Butler shut it down very quickly. He said it had nothing to do with my ankle. Okay, I'm going to shut that down too. You got people say he's not top 5 or top 10. Well, my thing is, if you don't feel like he's top 5, top 10, you got to give me the players who you think who are top 5, top 10, and the players that actually accomplished what he's accomplished in 4 seasons, three conference championships and appearances, and also 2 NBA Finals appearances. What top 5, top 10 player has done that with the amount of help he has around him? You know what I'm saying? We can't just sit up there and just want to, take away that, but then not put nobody else in his place. You got to give me somebody, who's done more, right? Because when I look at, the NBA, there's not really much of a dominant presence. I think people are still trying to find out who's the, real best player, like definitive best player. I mean, you can say Jokic right now because he has the championship, but it's not like when LeBron was in the league or when Kobe was in the league or Jordan, where it was just evident every single year who's the best player for like a 5-year stretch at least. Where we're not in those days right now, man. Like, people are, fighting. Some people say Jokic, some people say Giannis. Some people say Kawhi when he's healthy. Some people say Steph Curry. So it's like it's a whole bunch of different people that you can look to. You know what I'm saying? But we'll go back to Jimmy Butler, man. I didn't see none of the trash talking that he did in any of the other series. I didn't see the trash talking against the Milwaukee Bucks, the New York Knicks, or the Boston Celtics. I didn't see none of that trash talking. I didn't see none of that competitive edge, none of that fire. I didn't see none of that this series, man. Not one time did he get in KCP's face. Not one time did he get in Jamal Murray's face. Not one time did he get in Nikola Jokic's face. Not one time did he get in Bruce Brown's. He didn't get in no one's face on that Denver team. Aaron Gordon's face. And my question is why? Why was Jimmy Butler so conservative? Why was Jimmy Butler so cool? This is the NBA Finals, man. This ain't no regular season game. This is the NBA Finals. Now, if we go into what Jimmy Butler averaged this series, he averaged 21 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 rebounds in 5 games against the Denver Nuggets this season, or in the playoffs, or in the finals. I'm sorry. And if you look at his field goal percentage, he didn't shoot not one time over 50%, except for Game 5 or Game 4. So usually when you shoot inefficient, it means the defense that you're dealing with, you know what I'm saying, is kind of giving you, different looks in the different matchups and, something that you ain't seen before. You guys do realize Jimmy Butler had a great field goal percentage this season, right? You realize if you go back against the games against Milwaukee, Boston, and New York, there is games he shot over 50% more than just once. So what I feel like happened is Denver gave Jimmy Butler, a different look where he ain't seen in nobody else against nobody else. Not even the Celtics, not the Bucks, not the Knicks. The Nuggets they did something as far as game plan to, I won't say stop Jimmy because you can't stop Jimmy, but they made it as good as a matchup as they could make. They made it tough for him as hard as they could. You know what I'm saying? Putting guys like Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr., man, two guys who are 6'10" and up, man, that's a lot of length. And even with that, Jimmy Butler still, you look at the elevation on his shot, man. That's why I'm not giving him the ankle excuse. I saw this man last year off of one leg destroy the Boston Celtics, man. And had he not missed that last shot in Game 7, they would have went to the finals, bro. Like, I'm not giving Jimmy Butler the ankle excuse. He injured his ankle against the New York Knicks in Game 2, man. He's been doing what he's supposed to do, but he's been on and off. Right? So I just feel like Denver, bro, the amount of bodies they threw at him, and also with the scrappiness of KCP and Bruce Brown, and you know what I'm saying. I think Jimmy Butler at sometimes was trying to figure out the defense of Denver, man. I really do. I feel like that's what was going on. He was taking a lot of more inefficient shots. He wasn't able just to go to the basket at will because that second line of defense would be waiting for him. Whether that be MPJ, whether that be Jokic, who's not a great, rim protector. He can go right over him. But they had a lot of length on that team, bro. But then again, Milwaukee and Boston got a lot of length. So was it just the fact that Jimmy Butler looked at Denver as like, man, and just had so much respect for their team? Because I saw the post game press conference before Game 4. He's up there telling them like Jokic, if he's not one of the best player, the best player in the NBA. I'm like, he ain't never did that to Giannis. He didn't do that with Jason Tatum. He waited until after the series to do that. He's telling reporters this during the series. My thing is, I just think the level, I didn't see the same swagger he had against those other teams, man. I just didn't see it. But how we should look at Jimmy Butler is very simple, bro. He is a top 10 player based off of what he's accomplished this season. Y'all gotta remember, he's the 8th seed. The Miami Heat was not the number 1 seed or top 4 seed. Nobody expected Miami to do what they did. And you can't say because, they didn't have Giannis, because they ended up being a 4th seed. They ended up being a 5th seed who beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, who gentlemen swept them. So that was a competitive team. And then they go and beat the Boston Celtics, who a lot of teams had coming out the Eastern Conference. They ended up beating them, who said they were more talented. They had all this over the Miami Heat. That didn't seem to matter to Jimmy at that time. You know what I'm saying? Every single series they looked at like Miami don't have enough. Miami, and they've proven everybody wrong. So when they get to Denver, why is it that energy change all of a sudden? Why does that swagger change? Right? So I'm gonna say this last part, man. I'm gonna get up off here and I ain't gonna say no more about it, man. I think Jimmy Butler has the heart of a number 1 as far as, you know what I'm saying, his will and heart, bro, it's just undeniable, unquestionable. And the fact that he led that team, Miami Heat, to where he's led them just proves that he can be a number 1. But the guy, come on, he has to, in the summer this summer, he has to work to get more of a bag, man. He has to get more variety with his offensive moves. Because he realized he can't just drop to the basket dominant with his right hand and just try to go over everybody. Like, you're gonna have defenses that you're gonna have to deal with who you just can't do that. You're gonna have to have more of a versatility in your bag. You know what I'm saying? His pull-up shot wasn't going in mid-range as much as it should. He needs to get more efficient from that. His three-point shot, we already know, is streaky. Very strong, can elevate over damn near 95% of the players. But, when you're dealing with Aaron Gordon, who has a very elite, you know what I'm saying, vertical, and Michael Porter Jr., like that's a lot of length you're dealing with, man. So at the end of the day, man, Jimmy, I just think needs to, say work on a couple skills, tune up his couple skills this off season, man. And I think he'll come back better than ever because he got everything else. He got the defense, he got the competitive will. Um, he has everything that you need, but I just think it's his skill set that he's lacking, bro. That he doesn't have the variety of moves, and I'm saying offensive you know scoring habits on the offensive end, bro. Everything's 2 feet for Jimmy Butler for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Going in, hop step, floater, going in, I'm saying, trying to elevate over, he's trying to figure that defense out. And I just think, again, he just got caught up, trying to, see what Denver was trying to do. But hey, man, he's still top 10 to me. Again, I was mistaken. I thought Miami had a chance to win this series, in which they did. But it goes to show you, man, when your best player doesn't play like your best player every single game, this is what happens, man. This is the result, man. I mean, like I've told y'all before, this was Jimmy Butler's quote just after the Knicks series. You know what I'm saying? He said, "I'm the best effing player in the world. Double teams, triple teams, it don't matter." Yeah, you were playing like the best. And then again, and that's why I'm not giving him the ankle excuse, because this was after game 3. This is the game after he had his ankle injury, bro. So I'm not giving Jimmy that injury excuse, bro. I'm telling you, he faced a team in Denver that gave him a look that had to, he had to rethink what he was going to do on the offensive side of the ball. And it happens to the best, man. There's certain defenses that give you a look that you ain't seen before, whether it be somebody's length, that somewhat, deteriorates you from being like, who you're supposed to be. So I'm not going to speak about it no more, man. This is the last video I'm going to do about Jimmy for probably the rest of the offseason unless something happens. But we'll be on live tonight talking about the Eric's bullshit, about the Denver Nuggets, man. But yeah, pull up a seat, pull up a check, pull up. Peace. Out of here like swimwear.